Hi guys, this is Rayla Cook. This is the second video assessment project. So this one is more Olympic weightlifting, actual lifts with it, more power, more plyometrics, things of that nature. If you haven't seen the first one, basically this project is about how I can be creative with exercise variations and what I learned in my strength and conditioning class. So there's going to be 36 exercises total, 6 modalities, 2 exercises per modality, 3 variations per exercise, so that's 36. My program is more Olympic weightlifting oriented, so a lot of lifts. This is strength and power parameters mainly. Weight is not included in here. Only parameters I've set were sets and reps. Rest generally 2 to 5 minutes for power strength, but it's up to you. And yeah, so pretty much just gonna go over the actual workout that I recorded myself doing and what you need to have to do the workouts. Enjoy. All right, guys, you're right there. Last modality, 2 more exercises to go, 6 more variations. You're so close. Finish it off with closed agility drills. What's the difference between closed and open? Closed, predetermined directions. You know where you're going. Open, random, like a audio variable, a whistle. You know that can be random. What do you need? So a large amount of space, at least 5-15 yards, and then cones or something that can be distinguished as a cone. First thing, deceleration drills. So just running and then decelerating pretty much in various directions. So you run forward, slow down by flexing your torso, hips, knees, and ankles. So 3 things: forward deceleration, 3x1, lateral deceleration, 6x1, that's just 3 per leading leg, and then backward deceleration, 3x1, okay? So forward deceleration, run forward, slow down by flexing your torso, hip, knees, ankles, like we talked about. Lateral deceleration, this is side shuffle, slow down by flexing your torso, hip, knees, ankles, and abducting / adducting your legs because you're side shuffling. Lastly, backward deceleration, back pedal, run backwards and slow down by flexing your torso, hips, knees, and ankles. All right, so let's get into it. Okay, so deceleration drills, what we talked about, running forward or any direction you run to, and then slow down by flexing torso, hips, knees, ankles. Okay, you want to slow down with as least amount of steps as possible. And come to a halt. So there I'm saying not to force things and not take as many steps as you need. And that one, don't extend your legs. Obviously you want to have them bent and absorb forces. So that's what we're going to be doing, running forward and then decelerating and coming to a halt. First variation. There's a box in the back. In my backpack, that's the border, and then I just cross the computer and book. So you run and then you just decelerate at the line. You try not to pass it. All right, let's get a better angle just to see the lateral deceleration. So the book right there, that's 1 cone. Bag is another cone. Again, improvise, be creative if you don't have the necessary equipment. Side shuffle, So side shuffle slow, and then slow down by flexing torso, hip, knees, ankle, and abducting your legs. So I didn't mention it in the first variation for deceleration, but pretty much all the deceleration exercises, variations, it's nice to start slow. Quarter of your main speed, 50% main speed, 75% main speed, 100% speed. Gradually work your way up. The goal is to get as least amount of steps in to actually come to a halt. Okay, 3 steps is, nice. But that's how you make it harder, increasing the speed, increase the distance, there'll be more endurance. Make it easier, you can run at a slower pace. And really make sure and get down and lower your center of gravity. Should make it nice and easy to stop and decelerate. Okay, last variation. So backward pedal or backward deceleration. Same thing as forward, just you're moving backwards, and then again you want to decelerate or slow down by flexing your torso, hips, knees, ankles, and take as few steps as possible to come to a complete halt. Make it harder, you increase the speed or increase the distance. Make it easier, you should go at a slower pace. And this one, it is definitely, you have to have more sense of your surroundings. Again, the proprioception, awareness of your body, joints, and space. This one, you are free to kind of look behind, over your shoulder, because, the last thing you want to do is fall back, especially if you're on a hard floor like I am. And that's it. Last exercise we have, get hyped, almost there, finish strong, multi-directional drills. Okay, so square drill is what I just came up with, whatever shape I wanted. The border of the cones, make a square. There's so many variations you can think of. These are the ones I thought of. First one, they're all 2x1 sets to reps, by the way. But anyways, first one, forward diagonal sprint, side shuffle, backward diagonal sprint, side shuffle. Next one, side shuffle, diagonal shuffle, side shuffle, diagonal shuffle. Last one, pivot and sprint around the cones. So sprint to the cone, then pivot, sprint to the next cone, pivot. These are the variations I thought of. So that's the cone all the way back there, the box, and then a book, backpack, and a cone, and make a square, roughly 5 to 15 yards. And like the other deceleration drills, you're gonna accelerate and then decelerate smoothly if you can. Staying low to the ground. Make it easier, go at a slower pace. Make it harder, go at a faster pace. Just showing the direction. Or I say an example of a square drill. So forward, side shuffle, backward, side shuffle. It's just an example of how it would look like. And again, creativity, you can do whatever you want. There's probably so many variations out there. But first variation, we're going to show forward diagonal, hold, side shuffle, decelerate, hold, back pedal, decelerate, hold, side shuffle. So, again, it's a lot of accelerating, decelerating, recelerating. So perfect for agility, changing the body changing the direction of the body. So let's get into it. You can see all the steps I'm doing to decelerate. Look back when I'm going backwards. Make sure I don't trip over something or fall. And that was one rep. Now to do it again. All right, time for the second variation. Side shuffle, diagonal shuffle, side shuffle, diagonal shuffle. So you're only shuffling. So again, get down. Try not to let the heels and legs intertwine or cross or hurt each other. So just showing you the direction. Side, diagonal, side, diagonal. Again, try and decelerate with as few steps as needed. You can increase the speed or length of the drill or increase the reps and volume. Last one. This is more of an actual real life game scenario. Pivoting, sprinting, changing directions. You're gonna run, decelerate, pivot, and explode to the next direction. Pivot, explode, pivot, explode. Also make sure you have appropriate shoes, footwear. Don't want to sprain an ankle or possibly get some tendinopathy. Last one. Come on, let's get it. Come on now. And that's it. Now let's go for a cool down. All right, you made it. You're done. Whoop, whoop. Let's go. Hopefully you finished strong and you killed it. Now let's get a cool down, relax, stretch, and get on our way. So what do you need? Assault bike or any form of cardio, rhythmic, repetitive movements that encompass the whole body. And what are we gonna do? So we're gonna do a bunch of stretches. So each stretch is one set, 30 seconds hold. So you do assault bike for 5 minutes at leisurely pace and decrease gradually. Then upper trap stretch, scapular depression with head and neck, lateral flexion, ipsilateral side. Shoulder stretch, external rotation of one arm, internal rotation of the other. Tricep stretch, elbow flexion, bicep stretch, elbow extension, middle trap, rhomboid stretch, scapular retraction with elbow adduction. Last couple of stretches, pectoral stretch on wall, external rotation of elbow, 90-degree flexion with trunk rotation away from elbow. Latissimus dorsi stretch, elbow flexion on sturdy object followed by shoulder flexion. Quadricep stretch on floor, knee flexion. Hamstring stretch on floor, knee extension with arm reach. Hip flexor stretch, hip external rotation. Gluteal stretch on floor, external rotation of the hip for one leg. Lumbar flexion, hip, knee extension for contralateral leg. Calf stretch, dorsiflexion. Cat camel stretch on floor, just quadruped position, knees under hips and arms under shoulders, lumbar extension and lumbar flexion. All right, let's get into it. All right, let's start this cool down. So again, for the assault bike, just remember the seat should be a little below your hip when you're pedaling, full extension of your legs. And again, so this is at a moderate pace and you're gonna decrease over time because you're relaxing. You wanna decrease your heart rate. That's through the roof probably. Decrease it gradually. So you don't necessarily have to use all the attachments on the bike. I don't at first. Personally, I use my legs first because they feel more affected, and then I'll incorporate some arms like halfway, 5-minute mark. But you start at a moderate pace because then you want to decrease over time, and then you just go super slow and slow and slower until you come to a stop. And that's pretty much it. And then after that, you start doing your stretches. All right, let's do our first stretch. Upper trap stretch right here. So depress the scapula, press the arm down. You can either sit on it with your butt too if you want. And then lateral flexion of the neck away. And just hold it. and then switch arms. Next, we're going to stretch our triceps, just elbow flexion. Actually, you can get the elbows up too to get more of a lat stretch as well. Then we're going to move into elbow extension to stretch the biceps. You can also extend your wrist to just stretch the other flexors of the arm. And just hold it. All right, now we're going to do latissimus dorsi stretch. So for all the stretches, as long as you do all of them, then it's fine. There's not really any particular order. They're all going to be stretched anyways, but latissimus dorsi stretch, elbow flexion, sturdy object followed by shoulder flexion, and just hold it. And try and go as deep as you can. Next, we have pectoralis stretch on wall. So external rotation of elbow, 90-degree flexion with trunk rotation away from the elbow. And you hold it, and then you just switch sides. Next, we're going to have our rhomboid middle trap stretch. So essentially, Scapular protraction with elbow adduction. More emphasis on the scapular protraction than the elbow adduction. But just think of it as giving yourself a big hug. Next, do some shoulder stretches. So external rotation, internal rotation of one hand or one arm, and then hold it. So try and touch fingers if you can. I'm so close. I remember able to do this easily as a kid, but obviously not anymore. All right, now let's get to the floor. We're gonna have our quadriceps stretch. Essentially just knee flexion, sitting down. You can deeper the stretch by leaning back more and actually touching the ground with your back if you can. I personally can't, but kudos to those who can. Next, we're going to do hamstring stretch. So, leg extension, knee extension with arm reach. Make sure to lead with the chest, not the head and the neck. Reach as far as you can and hold. Next, we're going to do the butterfly stretch. So this is hip flexor stretch, hip external rotation, essentially all it is. And you can either press down your elbows on your legs to get a further stretch if you want, and you hold it. You can also do some lumbar flexion or just lower your torso over your legs, like you're smelling your feet. This can be a greater stretch as well. Next, we got your gluteal stretch. So external rotation of one leg and then extension of the other leg. And lumbar flexion. You're leaning over it. The further you are over it, the better for the stretch. and you just hold, and then you switch positions with the other leg. All right, so calf stretch, gastrocnemius stretch, simply just on the wall dorsiflexion. So get your foot high on the wall as high as you can, and then you lean forward into it, and you're gonna feel a stretch on your gastrocnemius, or your calf. And switch legs after 30 seconds. All right, last stretch of the day, and you're out of here. Cat camel stretch on floor, so quadruped position, knees under hips, arms under shoulders, simply lumbar extension, lumbar flexion. So pulling the belly button up to the ceiling, hunching over. Kind of like a cat hissing, head down as well. After 30 seconds of that, you're going to switch to extension, kind of like a camel hump. Look up, bring the belly button towards the floor, and hold it. And that's it for stretches, and that's it for this video too. Hopefully you enjoyed it, had a good workout, and thanks for watching.